Hey BookTube, this might be a short and bittersweet video this evening. My brother passed away almost 2 months ago. The initial fog has lifted and I'm functional. Some days I'm doing okay, some days I'm a mess. But all things considered, I'm okay, I guess. And so, being an avid reader, I started to read books on grief and mourning about a month ago, because I want to understand what I'm going through, mentally, physically, emotionally. I'm an anxious person to begin with. So the more I know what to expect, the better I can face it and the less anxious I feel about it, because then it is known, you know. And the book I have found most helpful so far, I've read 4 books, is Megan Devine's It's Okay That You're Not Okay, which is a book that was published October 1st, 2017, so not too long ago. And I have found every chapter, every sentence in that book extremely helpful. Everything is spot on in the way she talks about grief, to me at least. I really recognized myself in a lot of what she wrote, and I found actually a lot of information that I was looking for without knowing that I was looking for it. For example, she has a short chapter on grief and anxiety, what grief does to anxiety. And I had noticed before reading that chapter that in these my anxiety was higher than usual. So it's helping me understand what I'm going through. And I borrowed the book from the library, just to say. And I had to return it already, so I'm speaking from memory, which is not as optimal as it usually is, but I have bought a copy of her book because I will want to have my own version and to reread some sections as time goes by. If I remember correctly, the book is divided into 4 sections. How we do not live in a culture that speaks openly about grief, and how misunderstood grief is, the impacts grief has on the mind and the body, which was my main point of interest in reading this book. When I saw that in the chapter, in the index, I thought, oh, this is what I was looking for. There's a section on how to support a grieving friend, and then I don't remember what the 4th section is, but it's okay. Megan Devine talks a lot about finding a middle path, a middle way between being stuck in grief or triumphing over it. She calls it tending to the pain and bearing witness to it, which I find very helpful, because it's true. Well, for me at least, I don't see myself crying all the time and being completely stricken and unable to do anything. But at the same time, I can't be happy, or I don't know. It's just, it's odd to say. And I know it might be odd to make a YouTube video about this, but it's helping me process as well. And also the fact that she's a grief activist really struck a chord in myself as well. And so that's definitely something I want to try and de-tabooize, to perhaps try and make conversations about grief more usual, because we need to talk about it. Everyone is affected by it, right? I'm going off script, sorry. I found a lot of kind words and useful information in her book. And if you are yourself mourning, perhaps you can also find something, many things in my opinion, in her book to help you adapt to this new reality. I look forward to rereading some sections as I need them as time goes by. I do want to try and resume booktubing. I read perhaps in her book or perhaps elsewhere how important it is to maintain a semblance of routine or normalcy even when days are hard, and so that's what I'm trying to do in my own grief right now. There are days that are extremely hard, but I try to push through and I try to give myself time when I need it. And if this technique doesn't work for me, if it's not helpful, then I will try something else later on. I will leave some links to Megan Devine's YouTube channel, to her website, and to her Facebook page called Refuge in Grief. I find her work incredibly helpful, and like she writes a few times in her book, to paraphrase, I'm sorry that I need her book, but I'm glad to have found her. And so yeah, that's where I am right now. There are other books I want to tell you about, and maybe I will see you in the next video about one of those. Take care.